Hey everyone, welcome to Gastromania. It's been a rainy and cooling week in Singapore. My friend's dad also requested for a video on sesame chicken, so there was no better time than now to make it. Sesame chicken is a dish commonly prepared for postpartum movement for recovery during the confinement period. It's full of ginger, which the Chinese believe has the properties of warming the body and getting rid of excess wind in the body. Let's get right into this recipe. We will start with the ingredients. You may pause the video to view it, but I will not be going through them as they are very common and I will be going right into the preparation. First, we marinate the chicken. We will be needing a whole chicken, excluding the feet and head. You can also include them if you eat these parts. Unfortunately, my family and I don't know how to appreciate them. One big tip here is to get the butcher to do the heavy lifting so that you don't have to sweat it out at home figuring out how to cut the whole chicken. Slice up 1 thumb-sized ginger. The ginger will be essential for reducing the gaminess of the chicken as we are not blanching it. Next, we will need 2 tablespoons of Chinese cooking wine. This is also essential for reducing the gaminess of the chicken. If you are into stronger alcohol tasting sesame chicken, you can also add this right before serving the sesame chicken at the end. Next, we will need 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This will provide the umami flavor that is required in the sesame chicken. You can also increase the amount of sesame sauce used here and reduce it for the sauce during the cooking process. We will need oyster sauce for providing a sweet and salty flavor profile. Oyster sauce complements ginger very well, and in fact there are many dishes with these 2 ingredients in Chinese cuisine. We will also need 2 teaspoons cornstarch to ensure that the chicken stays tender during the cooking process. You may be wondering why I only put 2 teaspoons for 1.2 kilograms of chicken. That is because the chicken I'm using contains bones and skins. With bones and skins, the meat will not dry out fast and will not be dry by the time you finish simmering for about 40 minutes. Lastly, we also have 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. There is no need to put too much of sesame oil for seasoning as we will be adding quite a bit later during the cooking process. Mix the chicken well with the seasoning. One tip here is to get a bigger mixing bowl for dishes that involve a whole chicken. Otherwise you may find it harder to mix the chicken like me and end up spending more time than if you had a bigger mixing bowl. Cover the seasoned chicken with a cling wrap and keep it in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour. I will marinate it for 2 hours to let the flavor seep in more into the chicken. Remove the chicken about 15 minutes before cooking to let it rise in temperature. I'll see you later when it's time to cook.
2 hours later.
Alright, it's been 2 hours and it's time to start cooking. Take out the chicken from the fridge and let's cut some ginger first. We will be cutting them into long matchsticks a few millimeters thick. I will be using a clay pot as it has stronger insulating effects and it will ensure that the sesame chicken remains hot throughout dinner. Begin by heating up 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. We will not be using vegetable oil for authentic sesame chicken. Start frying the ginger when the temperature is not too high. The ginger must be cut into matchsticks so that it will release maximum flavor into the chicken while maintaining its shape throughout for consumption later. Fry the ginger until it's fragrant and slightly browned. At this point, add in the marinated chicken and let it sear for a little. Do not wash away the remaining juices inside the mixing bowl. We can rinse the mixing bowl later while adding the water. Again, it will be good if you have a slightly larger pan or clay pot for this dish so that you can turn the chicken more easily during the cooking process. Let the chicken sear for about 5 minutes or so, where the meat will become visibly white. Once the meat turns white, add the soaked shiitake mushrooms. We have about 15 of them here cut into halves. I've soaked them for about 30 minutes beforehand. You do not want to cut the mushrooms too thinly so that they will feel more satisfying while biting into them for this dish. Keep the soaking liquid for later use. The liquid is full of flavor and it will be a waste to throw it away. Pour it into the mixing bowl and mix the remaining marinade. Mix the mushroom evenly and continue searing the chicken until the meat around the bones are mostly white. Once most of the meat has turned white, add in the soaking liquid. Adding the soaking liquid will greatly enhance the flavour of the sauce. Start seasoning the sauce. You will need about 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce to give it a hint of natural sweetness. Next, we will add about 1 tablespoon of soy sauce to make the sauce even more umami. Keep some of the spare soy sauce before serving. You may need to make it saltier depending on your preference. We also need about 1 tablespoon dark soy sauce for colouring. If you do not like darker coloured sesame chicken, you can add less or don't add any at all. Lastly, about 2 teaspoons of fine white sugar to make the flavour of the oyster sauce even more pronounced. Mix the seasonings well and let it boil. Once the sauce boils, lower the heat to medium. Cover it and let it simmer for 40 minutes. During the 40 minutes, please remember to mix the chicken to prevent charring at the base of the clay pot. Before serving, remember to taste the sauce and adjust it to your liking. If it's too salty, add some fine white sugar to balance it out. Before the sesame chicken finishes simmering, cut up some spring onions into 4 cm long strips for garnishing. After 40 minutes, remove the clay pot from the fire. Please take extra care as it is still very hot. Open the cover of the clay pot. It smells really good and the sauce is still boiling. Add in some roughly cut spring onion strips into the sesame chicken. This is for garnishing purposes as well as to act as some balance to this meaty dish. The heat from the mixture will cook the spring onions, so don't add it while it's still on the stove. You can cover the lid back until all other dishes are served. And our sesame chicken is complete. Serve it with rice and I can guarantee that your family and friends will go for extra rounds. I feel warm and fuzzy just by looking at the hot sesame chicken. Perfect for a cool, rainy day. Thank you for staying till the end of today's episode. The next episode will be on char siu. Subscribe to my channel for 2 recipes uploaded weekly, and I'll catch you in my next video.